Episode 3, The Remodel. This podcast reflects personal memories, interpretations, and opinions. All individuals mentioned are entitled to the presumption of innocence. While every effort has been made to tell the story truthfully and factually, some details may be subjective or based on personal recollection. Listeners should approach the content as a personal narrative, not a formal or factual record. Welcome back to the Spencer Files. If you haven't listened to the first 2 episodes, go back and start there. Last time, we talked about the generous offer my grandfather, Chet, or Pa as I also call him, made to help my family buy our first home, and how what began as an act of love began unraveling a family legacy. We walked through the down payment, the paperwork, the settlement my grandmother received after her car accident, and the eerie sense that something wasn't quite right behind the scenes. But first, let's talk about the house remodel. After we closed escrow, the plan was to remodel just the bathrooms. My grandfather gave us $15,000 to help us get as much done as we could. The kitchen wasn't terrible, but the bathrooms were a little dated. We were going to do something simple, functional, and a little newer. The primary shower looked more like a shower from an RV, so it had to go. But then I talked to my best friend Ty, who also owned the real estate firm that I worked with, Agents of LA. Ty knows everybody. I've met multiple celebrities and been at their houses just spending a day with Ty. He's connected in ways that I still don't understand. He's a great person and a great person to know. Ty has worked on remodels, renovations, and flips in the past, so he offered to help me with my house. He said he also had an idea to film something at my house. On November 10th, 2017, he sent over one of his friends, Brianna Tiesi, who was on Netflix Selling Sunset, to shoot a segment at the property showing off what they had planned to do with it. The twist? My entire family was sick that day. We couldn't go. We had norovirus, and we quarantined ourselves to our house. So Ty brought in a stand-in family to film at the house and pretend to be us. Yep, someone else stood in as my wife, our kids, and walked through our brand new house, going over all the things that we wanted to change. That's reality TV for you. Ty knew how important this house was to me, and we talked about this being my forever house. He suggested what we do, we need to do it right. He sounds a lot like my grandfather. He offered to cover some of the expenses of the remodel himself if we needed, especially if the network picked up the project. Spoiler alert, they didn't pick it up, but Ty ended up creating another TV show on VH1 called Love and Listings, and Bree's been on a few things, including Wild 'N Out and Selling Sunset. She also had a baby with Nick Cannon. The next day, November 11th, I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see a post from Ty. Agents of LA Demo Day. I always watch Ty's stories. This was definitely different. It was a house, but it was my house. Ty had taken the entire house down to the studs. The rooms were empty. The kitchen was gone. I found out on Instagram that we were going for a full remodel now. I would trust Ty with absolutely anything, but wow, here we go. Excited and terrified. After the shock wore off of seeing my house being taken down to the studs on Instagram, we had to figure out what to do next, since we couldn't stay in this house as it was. Our original plan was to sell the townhouse and move right away, but Pa had encouraged us to stay in the townhouse during the remodel. He thought it would be best for the boys to not be around all the construction and dust, and honestly, I agreed. So, that's what we did. We stayed in the townhouse in Simi Valley while the renovation at the new house was underway. It gave us time to keep the boys in the routine, stay out of the chaos, and slowly plan how we were going to finish the build-out. Pa checked in with me constantly, offering advice and support. He told me not to stress, and reminded me again and again that he was happy to help, and that it brought him joy to see our family thrive. I was even sending Melissa pictures as things progressed, because we were still in that space. One of those exchanges happened on November 16th, 2017. I texted her, "Hey, I hear we're doing Thanksgiving at Grammy and Pa's house." She replied, "Yay, yes, I'm super excited to see everyone." I asked what time we were starting, and she said she wasn't sure, that she'd be there all day to make sure that Pa didn't have to do any work, and that Amanda, her daughter, would be there as well. Now, as much as the remodel started to feel like progress, the other pressures were mounting. We were carrying 2 mortgages now. We never did get any help with the extra mortgage, but I also wasn't going to ask. Even though it was Chet's idea, I couldn't stomach to ask him for anything. I even had to take money out of my 401k to help cover the second mortgage and remodel costs. Construction delays were also starting to pop up. The extra expenses were adding up fast. That $15,000 that Chet gave us helped a lot, but we quickly blew past it with demolition and layout changes that we hadn't planned for. The house, however, started to look amazing. Anna and Ty worked closely to choose the design, finishes, and layout. They decided on a clean, modern farmhouse style that blended a rustic charm with simple, timeless features. It looked amazing. Seeing it all come together made the stress feel really worth it, at least for a little while. Probably until Thanksgiving, where I start to see how Darren really felt. On the next episode of the Spencer Files, we step into what I've come to call the Last Supper. Thanksgiving at Grammy and Pa's house was always meant to be a celebration. Instead, it quietly marked the beginning of a turning point that I didn't see coming, including the first signs of how Darren really felt about me buying the house. I'll also walk you through the sale of our townhouse and when I met Chet at the credit union to give him the proceeds from us selling the townhouse. It was a proud moment for me because Chet said that no one ever pays him back. But for others, it may have been the beginning of a deeper resentment.